Let me ask you something. What if everything you thought you knew about God's grace only scratched the surface? Most of us hear the word grace and immediately think forgiveness, mercy, God letting us off the hook. But what if I told you grace is not just what covers your past, it's what empowers your future? If you've ever thought grace was just about getting a second chance, this video is going to change the way you see God and yourself, because grace isn't just mercy, it's power. Let's dive in. Section 1, Grace vs. Mercy, 045. Let's clear something up right away. Mercy is when God doesn't give us the punishment we deserve. Grace is when God gives us blessings we don't deserve. Mercy says, you're guilty, but I'm letting you go free. Grace says, you're not only free, you're adopted, empowered, and called. Grace is more than a pardon, it's an invitation into a new way of living. Titus 2:11, Paul says, for the grace of God has appeared that offers salvation to all people. It teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives in this present age. Wait, grace teaches us. Grace empowers us. Yes, it's not just a covering, it's a coach. Section 2, Common misunderstandings about grace. 2 o'clock. Too often, Christians fall into one of two traps when it comes to grace. 1. Cheap grace. This is the idea that I can do whatever I want, and God will forgive me anyway. But Paul addresses this directly in Romans 6:1-2. Shall we go on sinning so that grace may increase? By no means. We are those who have died to sin. How can we live in it any longer? Grace is not a license to sin, it's the power to break free from sin. 2. Earned grace. Some people swing the other way and believe they have to work to keep God's grace. They live under guilt and pressure, constantly wondering if they've done enough. But the Bible is clear. It is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God. Ephesians 2:8. You don't earn grace. You receive it. You live from it. Grace is a gift, not a reward. Section 3, The power of grace in daily life, 3:30. So, how does grace impact your daily walk with God? It's not just about salvation. It's about transformation. Let's talk about what grace actually does for you. 1. Grace gives you strength. 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. When you're weak, tired, overwhelmed, or ready to give up, God's grace steps in, not to just comfort you, but to strengthen you. 2. Grace changes your desires. God's grace doesn't just make you better at following rules. It gives you a new heart, a new appetite. What used to tempt you begins to lose its grip. That's grace at work from the inside out. 3. Grace makes you bold. Hebrews 4:16 says, let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence. Grace makes you confident not in yourself, but in Christ. You don't have to come crawling to God like a beggar. You're His child. He welcomes you with open arms. Section 4, Grace in the life of Jesus, 5:15. If you really want to understand grace, look at Jesus. John 1:14 tells us, the Word became flesh and made His dwelling among us. We have seen His glory, full of grace and truth. Jesus didn't just talk about grace, He embodied it. Think of the woman caught in adultery. Everyone expected Jesus to condemn her. Instead, He said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And when everyone walked away, Jesus told her, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. That's grace. No condemnation, but also a call to live differently. Think of Peter. He denied Jesus 3 times. But after the resurrection, Jesus restored him. Not just forgave him, but commissioned him to feed his sheep. That's grace. Not just picking you up from your fall, but putting you back on your feet and sending you out. Section 5, Living under grace, not guilt, to 6:45. Some of you watching this are living with shame, regret, or unworthiness. Maybe you feel like you've gone too far or messed up too many times. Listen to me. You are not disqualified. Grace covers every failure. Grace says, you're still invited, you're still loved, you're still chosen. Romans 5:20 says, where sin increased, grace increased all the more. That means there's no sin so dark that God's grace can't outshine it. But grace isn't just about wiping the slate clean. It's about writing a new story on that slate. Section 6, Grace is for growth, to 8 o'clock. Don't just receive grace once and then forget about it. You need grace every single day. Philippians 1:6 says, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. That's grace at work. From beginning to end, grace starts your journey with God, sustains you through the process, and will bring you to the finish line. So the question is not, do I deserve God's grace? The question is, am I letting it change me? Because when you live under grace, you forgive more easily, you love more deeply, you stop performing and start resting, you stop striving and start abiding. Section 7. Grace for Others 9:15. Here's the twist. Once you understand God's grace, you can't help but extend it to others. Jesus said in Matthew 10:8, freely you have received, freely give. Grace received must become grace given. So, who in your life needs grace today? A friend who failed you, a family member who doesn't deserve another chance, yourself. Remember, grace isn't fair. It's better than fair. It gives what's not earned, just like God gave it to you. Closing 10 o'clock. So, let me ask you, are you living in grace or guilt? Are you surviving on mercy or thriving in the fullness of grace? Are you trying to earn God's love or receiving it as the free gift it truly is? Grace is more than just mercy. It's more than forgiveness. It's the divine power of God that lifts you, transforms you, and sends you out in victory. If this encouraged you, drop a comment and let me know how you've experienced God's grace in your life, or maybe where you still need to. And don't forget, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more truth-filled content to grow your faith. Until next time, walk boldly, live freely, and remember, grace isn't just your foundation, it's your fuel.